Good morning. On the 1st of this month, I fired Allstate. Allstate Insurance Company is no longer getting my money on any front: cars, motorcycles, house. As an insurance company, they failed. The good hands people, their motto, the product they sold me was to make me whole again in the event of a disaster or even an incident, minus the deductible. So I had some shingles come off of my roof during Helene. A lot of shingles. I think somewhere around 40. I bought in some roofers, and the roofers inspected. I got 4 or 5. I don't remember how many at this point. And without fail, every one of them said they could repair the roof, but they wouldn't guarantee their work because the surrounding shingles would not adhere to the new shingles, that the adhesive was no longer effective from the shingles. Well, during a phone call with Allstate, while I was trying to establish when they would replace my roof, because it had to be replaced because no one would guarantee their work, they explained that they would replace the shingles, but not the roof. They would not replace all of the shingles, just the ones that had been displaced by the wind and rain. I calmly explained to them that the rest of the shingles that were on the roof had been affected by the wind and rain, that the adhesive on the shingles would not allow them to readhese to the shingles. Shingles lay one on top of the other, and this part has adhesive that attaches. Well, the wind and the rain blew it so that they had all come loose. None of the roofers would guarantee their work if all I had them do was replace the shingles. Obviously, I needed a new roof. So, I fought Allstate for a while. It was obvious I wasn't getting anywhere, so I hired a public adjuster. And the public adjuster takes 20% of all recovered monies from the insurance. So that left me in a 20% deficit if I got any money back from them. In the meantime, we found some more water damage on the walls and roof of the master bedroom. That all had to be pulled out. At this point, I have the public adjuster working for me against the insurance company, who up until this point I naively thought was on my side. I was wrong. Allstate fought every item as hard as they could. They never did pay for the roof. At this point, they're still withholding $1,000 until I get a certificate of completion for the work done. Now, I'm doing the work myself because, well, number one, I'm an able-bodied man who can do that kind of thing. Number two, not the roof, the work inside the house. Number two, I was 20% shorted on the money because I had to pay that to the public adjuster, which was my choice to hire. And by choice, I mean if I didn't hire him, my mental health was going to be affected because the good hands people were fighting me every step of the way. I left my local agent messages. She never called me back. After 21 years of paying these people money, she ghosted me. The national representatives Very rude, unacceptable behavior to a customer. So I fired him. It's what you do, right? When you have a product or an employee or contract with someone and they're not fulfilling the needs of that contract, you cut them loose. Now, I also cut loose my car insurance from them because I figured if they are that horrible with my house, the largest purchase of my life, how poor are they going to be when it comes to a claim for my car? I keep high deductibles so that my insurance premiums are lower. I encourage everybody to do that. Set aside some money so that you have the ability to meet the deductibles and you're not wasting money on insurance premiums. However, I did not expect to have to fight Allstate. And eventually I had to stop fighting Allstate and hire someone to fight Allstate. I had to pay for the roof. They would not budge on that. And I found out now that is their general rule of thumb. They don't want to pay for a roof, they just want to pay for shingles and replacements. And if every roofer I find says they won't guarantee their work because the roof has been affected so poorly, has been affected so violently by the storm, in this case Helene, that they can't guarantee that their work that their repairs will hold. Well, that kind of tells me that the roof needs to be replaced, but not Allstate. Allstate held the line. Allstate said, wind and rain do not affect adhesion. Wind and rain do not affect adhesion. So, by holding that line, they didn't have to pay for the roof. If you're with Allstate, take a close look at your policy. I didn't, and it cost me big bucks. In recent videos, I encouraged you to get a colonoscopy. When you turn 50, you get a colonoscopy. 5 years later, you get a colonoscopy. 5 years after that, you get a colonoscopy. See the pattern? Yeah. This is called a preventative medicine procedure. Now, 30% of people that get a colonoscopy, they find polyps. Polyps are little nodules inside the intestines that they either burn out, clip out, or pull out with a wire. Then they have these examined for cancer. See if you have, cancer that they can treat quickly. As a preventative medicine measure, insurance companies pick up the tab. It's probably around $3,000 every 3 years. Every 5 years. Now, if you find polyps, insurance companies will encourage you to get a colonoscopy every 3 years. I fired Allstate. I'm going somewhere with this. I'm still fighting with my medical insurance, so I don't want to label them. Allstate, you're toast. I hope everybody drops you Allstate. I hope you go out of business. I hope that when the people who realize what a crappy service provider you are come to the understanding that the good hands people are not on your side. They are not on your side. The good hands people are just collecting money for themselves. Anyway, get a colonoscopy. This is what the medical establishment tells us. Every 5 years after 50. 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, etc. Unless you get polyps. If you have polyps, 30% of people who get colonoscopy discover they have polyps. They want you to get a colonoscopy every 3 years. Just to check, make sure that you're not growing cancerous cells. Makes sense. It's another preventative medicine procedure. They want to be ahead of the cancer so that if you have cancer, they can get it early and solve the problem. The insurance companies traditionally have wanted you to, there's a bug, have wanted you to get this because it's cheaper for them to catch the cancer early and have it treated instead of having to do radical cancer treatment later on when it's progressed further. At least that's what I was told. So I made a few mistakes during this colonoscopy procedure. I'm encouraging you not to make these mistakes. The first thing I did was I trusted the people who did the colonoscopy to get pre-approval from my insurance company. That was not the case. They did not get pre-approval. They checked to see if I was covered. I was. They checked to see if I was in network. I was. I made the wrongful assumption that my 5-year colonoscopy screening was preventative medicine and is therefore covered by my insurance company. Guess what? I have to fight my insurance company now to get them to pay it. They're not going to pay it. Spoiler alert, they're not going to pay it. I got a bill for $1,400 and change dollars. $1,400 for a colonoscopy that I thought was covered fully by the insurance company. Turns out the insurance companies, in an effort to save money, have stretched out the preventative medicine procedure of a colonoscopy from 5 years to 10 years. Since last I had my colonoscopy, which was 8 years ago, they decided, nah, 5 years is too quick. Let's stretch it out to 10. Now, the medical establishment, my primary care physician, has told me 5 years, every 5 years. In January, when I went for my annual, my doctor told me, it's been 8 years since you've had a colonoscopy. You're 3 years past due. Let's get you a colonoscopy. So, I went and got a colonoscopy. 5 years, preventive medicine. No, not at all. Every 10 years now. Well, the doctors want you to get it every 5 years, but the insurance companies are only going to pay for it every 10 years. So now you have to make a decision. I don't know about your insurance company, I'm talking about mine. You have to make a decision. If it's every 10 years, do I chance it and wait the 10 years and get my colonoscopy? Meanwhile, I've got polyps. So if the polyps are cancerous and I wait 10 years, now the insurance company didn't have to pay for that 5th year one, and I'm not out of pocket for the 5th year one. However, the cancer could kill me. This is literally a choice that we have to make. What a horrible thing to have to decide. Let's go a little further. Let's dig just a little bit deeper. You have polyps. Remember, 30% of people in America have polyps after their first colonoscopy, they find these polyps that tend toward cancer. The doctor says every 3 years. Preventative, just testing. It's kind of like an annual physical. You go in, you get your blood drawn, you get your, turn your head and cough. You do all that stuff. They check your heart, your lungs, ask you how you've been doing. You know what an annual physical is. Well, this is kind of like an annual physical for your colon, only now they want to do it in a shorter time frame. So instead of every 5 years, they want to do it every 3 years to ensure 30% of people in America that have had a colonoscopy. They want to do it every 3 years so that you get your peace of mind, and they get ahead of the cancer if it's there and stop it so that they don't have to use the radical treatments. And they can do a less non-invasive treatment and treat it. So, the insurance company only covers it every 10 years. Your doctor, the doctor who gives you the colonoscopy wants you to do it every 3 years. And your primary care physician wants you to get it every 5 years minimum. Okay, so I guess it's every 5 years, except for the insurance company won't pay for it every 5 years, just every 10 years, even though it's preventative medicine. Wait, let's go a little deeper. Let's dig in a little bit further. So I talked to my insurance company. Record all your calls with your insurance company, by the way. It's very important. Talked to my insurance company, and they said, well, they sent the wrong code for preventive medicine. So then I called the colonoscopy people, and they said, no, we sent the right code. It's because you had polyps 8 years ago. We had to use this code because you had polyps. So I called the insurance company back, and I told them, I said, hey, they said that they used the right code, that they said that it's because I had polyps before that they had to use that. And the insurance company lady said, yes, that's correct. And I said, okay, so what's the deal? Well, you have to use a different code. So I called the insurance, the people back at the medical place, and they said, yeah, we used that code, plus we included a code 33 modifier, which means treat this as preventive medicine. And we included a note that said, treat this as preventive medicine. So, call the insurance company back. Yeah, that's not the right code, though. I said, okay, well, what's the right code? She said, I can't tell you. I said, you can't tell me? She said, right. Well, I'm very upset at this point. I'm beyond upset at this point. Wait a minute, I'm the patient. I had the procedure done. Tell me what code I need. Well, I'll send it to you in an email. Okay, all right, send it to me in an email. I don't care how I get the code, right? I just want the code. Save myself $1,400. $1,400 that I really don't have in light of Allstate and all the work I'm having to do at the house. 20% more than I expected to have to do if there was a disaster, which there was. So now I'm waiting for the email, and she's still on the phone with me, and I said, and she starts talking, and she said, you should be able to find it in that. And I said, wait a minute, are you sending me a code, or are you sending me a bunch of codes? She sent me all the codes, everything. Okay, well, now I've got all the codes. I said, why can't you just tell me what the code is? No, I can't. It's against company policy. I'm not allowed to tell you what the code is. What the hell? Okay, so at this point I started calling it the magic code. And I started asking her, so if I find the magic code and they use the magic code, your company, the insurance will now cover the colonoscopy even if I had polyps in the past? Yes, that's correct. But I have to find the code myself. Right, you can send it to the insurance company and have them find it. Okay, all right, so I'm starting to see a kind of a pattern here with these insurance companies. These insurance companies are out for one thing and one thing only: collect money. I mean, the service they're providing, that's all secondary. Let's not worry about people's health or the medical concerns that they have. Allstate lost my business. I fired them. They deserve that. You deserve to fire them. You deserve better than Allstate. So, my medical insurance company won't tell me the code. So I email. I recorded this call. I may post it. Not today, but one day. So, I email my colonoscopy office with what she said. I'm actually kind of excited because this lady in the colonoscopy office is very, very informed, and she seems to know what the hell she's doing. So this is going to get solved now. I sent it to her at lunch before I got off at the end of the day. Before I got off at the end of the day, she emailed me back and she said, I think I found the problem. We can't change the code because you had polyps previously. So this is the code. You have what they call high-risk colonoscopy. Not that the colonoscopy itself is high risk, but because I had polyps, I have a higher risk of cancer. So I should have colonoscopies every 3 years. Let's keep that in mind. Minimum every 5 years, according to the primary care provider. She says, but your insurance company says they're not going to cover it if you had polyps previously, and they're only going to cover it if you didn't have polyps every 10 years. Let that sink in. A preventive medicine procedure that every doctor in America wants you to have every 5 years, and that the insurance companies have paid for every 5 years, are now only going to be paid for by the insurance companies every 10 years. If you have polyps, they're not going to pay for it at all. I guess because it's a pre-existing condition, maybe? Is that it, Mr. and Mrs. Insurance Company? Is that what it is? Because it's a pre-existing condition? Wow. So, I can't fire my medical insurance. I can't fire my medical insurance. I get it through my employer. What's the answer here? It's part of a benefits package. Well, I mean, we all know the answer. If your benefits packet does not meet the standard that you desire, you find a new benefits package. I'm a truck driver. Truck drivers are very independent people. Truck drivers like to get behind the wheel do their job, and be left alone. That's part of the draw of being a truck driver. Yeah, I got to deal with all the bad apples on the road, but as soon as you recognize that there's a lot more good apples on the road than bad, you can wrap your mind around that. I found a job I love. I found a place I really like. I found an occupation and a job that I am absolutely fond of. What's the answer? What's the answer? I'm a fan of capitalism, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do now. I'm really at a loss here. Allstate lost my business because they suck. Allstate, you are awful. You are horrible. You did the wrong thing for a lot of people. I can't fire my medical insurance. I'm with a good company. Man, I just don't think they know the kind of bind that they put their employees in by having subpar, god-awful medical insurance. Today or tomorrow, I'll be writing a check to a medical facility that gave me a quality colonoscopy. They still get 5 stars. They are awesome. They did a wonderful job. They gave me peace of mind. These damned insurance companies are stealing my peace of mind. If my house was ripped apart by a tornado and I was fortunate enough to have survived it, I don't know if the new insurance company will cover what needs covering. If I do get cancer in the next 10 years and I don't find out about it because of a lack of a colonoscopy, I don't know what the insurance company's going to do. No idea. Because they're not in the business, none of them are in the business of taking care of their customers, of providing the service that they're selling. What they're in the business of is saying, you have to have this by law, and if you don't, then you have to pay more. Government involvement. Thought I was too damn old to be looking for another job. I can't fire my medical insurer. Obviously, I'm disgusted. Obviously, I'm disgusted. I found a home with my current employer. Love the job. It's got everything I want. It's got the ability to be left alone. It's got a system. It's got a what do you call it? It's got a support system when there's something wrong. They come out, they work it out. If there's an issue with a customer, we're going to work with the customer. They're going to work with the driver. Man, this insurance. Oh, one more thing. I just got a colonoscopy. Pay for it out of pocket. Get a little bit of a discount because I'm getting it through my insurance, right? It ain't a lot. So, in 3 years, I'm supposed to get another colonoscopy. Well, that will be 11 years since an insurance company covered it. Let's say that I didn't find polyps. Let's say I hadn't had polyps. 11 years, but I just had one, and in 3 years I get another one. Let's say I get one in 5 years. But because it's not been 10 years, are they not going to cover it again? What the hell, man? Literally, your job is to service your customers and their medical needs. And instead, what you're doing is collecting money and trying not to pay for any medical problems. This is why half the country wants socialized medicine. You idiots are going to run yourself out of business. Hi. I need a warm up. It's Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. I'm going to go to a job that I love and try and keep my attitude straight. I hope you guys have a great Wednesday. I have to go in and talk to my boss today. Maybe I'll just send him this video. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you find peace, love, and dream. Until next time. Ciao.